Hello everyone, my name is Tom. Today we're going to be looking at the Pentacon 50mm F1.8. This is a very common 50mm lens. It was basically a kit lens for the Praktica cameras from the 1960s all the way up to the 1980s, such as the Praktica MTL3. And it normally goes for £20 to £30 on eBay, and that is very cheap and very accessible, and this makes this ideal for a starting 50mm prime lens, if you're on a budget. And I must say that the build quality for this lens is really good. It's an all metal build, and it is based on the M42 screw mount, which is very common, and it's very easy to adapt onto mirrorless cameras as well as digital SLRs. It also has a 49mm filter thread. The focus ring is extremely smooth to turn, and it has a focus throw of almost 360 degrees, so that's great for precise focusing. And as you can see in this footage, it can actually be a little bit difficult to pull focus just because of how long it takes to turn. The aperture ring responds very well with half stops. I think it's one of the best aperture clicks I've used, and as you can see there are 6 iris blades when you stop down, which will be noticeable in the bokeh. As you can see at f1.8 it's very round, but when you stop down to f4 you can see hexagon shaped bokeh. This lens focuses closer than your average 50mm. Most 50mm lenses would focus at 0.45 meters, however this focuses down to 0.33 meters, which is a lot closer than average and very versatile. As you can see, the lens flares are extremely strong when light is in the frame, despite that multi-coating, and there's quite a lot of focus breathing which may be annoying to some video users. I'm testing this on my Sony a7R II, a 42 megapixel full frame camera. At f1.8 in the centre, sharpness is usable, it's decent, but it lacks some contrast, and as you can see in the corners, well, sharpness drops off very quickly. It also looks very dark and washed out. f2.8 sees a drastic improvement in the centre, looking very, very good, and looking a little bit better in the corners, but you need to stop down to at least f5.6 to get really good sharpness, and basically stays the same up until f8 and f11. Sharpness begins to decrease at f16 due to the effects of diffraction. Overall, sharpness is actually pretty good on this. It's fairly typical for a 50mm lens. I'm really surprised by how sharp it gets at f2.8. And as you can see, focusing very closely at 0.33 meters is really good, almost macro-like, and you can see that the backgrounds just melt completely, looking very soft and dreamy. On some occasions, like here, it does look a little bit busy. It just depends on how complex the backgrounds are, but as you can see right here, it just looks very dreamy and it's just got a lot of character to it. These are some of my favourite images that I've taken, and to be honest, I think this is one of my favourite vintage lenses just because it's cheap, it's got a lot of character, and when stopped down it's got some extremely good sharpness. So I think this is one of those lenses that's just very difficult to resist. If you do find this in an antique shop, you should definitely get it. Although some copies that I've had in the past have a few problems with the aperture mechanism, especially when you're focusing at its closest focusing distance. Sometimes the aperture sticks or it just doesn't stop down. But overall I'm really happy with how the images turned out, and I think this is a lens definitely worth buying if you're starting off in photography or video. It's just so cheap and easy to find. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe for more vintage lens reviews, and I'll see you in the next video.